today's video, we are making a double-sided backdrop for a buddy's YouTube channel. This side has a slat wall with LEDs. The other side has shiplap with 4 floating shelves. Let me show you how I did it. Are you good? Is this thing on? We're gonna use this birch plywood, and we're gonna essentially try and cut it all the way through so that the grain wraps all the way around. Instead of doing a 45-degree angle, we're gonna cut it at 46. That way we know that it's gonna be a real tight fit, and we'll have a nice miter on the corners. So we're gonna make this 10 inches here. We're gonna use this here Makita track saw. The track for the track saw has a veneer guard which helps with tear out. And in order to fully utilize it, I have to spin this piece of plywood a whole bunch of times. It's pretty awesome. We got 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 2 1/4, so we're gonna make it 2 5/16. And right now I'm using the first cutoff as a support to keep the track flat for our next cut. And now we repeat the process until we have all the pieces for our floating shelves. My approach when cutting the lengths of these boards is to cut them at the same time. This creates more time efficiency, plus it makes sure that all the boards are gonna be the same length. I just find it easier this way. We're gonna have 2 shelves at 36 and 2 at 48. Now I have to make 8 end caps for the shelves.
We gotta make 4 more.
Here I'm just cutting spacers to go in between the shelves to create a little more rigidity. I forgot. I had to nip these corners off. This groove in the back down here to cover it, but the way I cut it, it's with the table saw, so it's round in there, not square. And those pieces of angle iron aren't round, they're square.
Oh!
What are we doing right now? We're doing assembly. So we're essentially gonna tape everything together and make sure everything fits. Attaching these supports on the inside with some glue and some nails makes it so I don't have to hide any nail holes. Moment of truth. Does it fit? Putting the nails on the top of the shelf makes it so they're easier to hide, which then creates the illusion of a solid board on your wall versus pieces of wood glued together, which gives these shelves the waterfall look, which is the grain flowing from the top all the way through the face to the bottom of the shelf. So the first step with making our slat walls, we gotta cut our boards to length. So we're gonna take our 2x12s and we're gonna cut them down to 7 foot tall. I didn't eat chocolate though. I wish I did. I wish I did. Ugh, heavy. Once the boards are all cut to length, now we need to cut the actual slats. We're gonna make them 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. Lots and lots of cuts. Once all the slats are cut, we're gonna send them through the drum sander until we can get a nice clean face. Now we're gonna cut a rabbet in 2 of our slats. So now we'll put this on the wall and the LED will go right here. Here we're just cutting all the studs to length. So this is a portable Krig jig, butted onto the end, and then you drill some screws. Typically when you're framing a wall, you don't need to do this, but since we have to take this wall apart to take it to the site, we have to be able to take it apart. So we're using this guy to make it so we can do that easily. Once you get all the holes drilled on one side, flip all the boards and repeat the process. When we're framing up this wall, we're gonna put all the studs on 16 on center. We're going to attach them to the top and bottom plate. Here we add a second bottom plate just for extra support. I'm not real sure how we're gonna get this thing into his basement, man. Hopefully it all fits. It's gonna fit. It'll be fine. It's gonna be good. The dimensions of this wall are 81 inches tall. Once we add our wheelbase, that'll give us the final height of 7 foot tall. Here we're gonna make a mark for our first slat to go onto the wall. So to attach the first slat, we use our level, line it up with our mark, make sure everything's straight, and nail it into the wall. The next slat, we have a spacer we put in between the first slat, pinch it tight, nail it away. Then continue the process until all your slats have been attached. Quick sand to make sure everything looks good. And then we're on to paint. Now we gotta disassemble the whole thing and deliver it to my buddy's YouTube studio. I hope it fits. Easy. Now that all the parts are inside, now it's time to reassemble the wall. So we're gonna just lay it out, Nick. The first board when you're doing shiplap is the most important board. You mess this board up, every board's gonna be crooked. So you gotta make sure it's level, nice and level. So we gotta make sure that the shelves, we know we're putting these, because we put these supports in here for our floating shelves, so we have a nailer wherever we want. So we just gotta make sure we're gonna hit it. Oh, I'm excited that worked out well. Now does it still roll with all this extra weight? No problem. So now we gotta drill some holes in our floating shelf brackets. It looks crooked to me. Does it look crooked to you? It drives me crazy how persnickety I can be sometimes.
Is that a word?
Persnickety? I think so. Sounds good, huh?
I like it.
I forgot. I had to nip these corners off. This groove in the back down here to cover it, but the way I cut it, it's with the table saw, so it's round in there, not square. And those pieces of angle iron aren't round, they're square. I'm not gonna hang on the edge of this thing, but you can definitely hang on it. That's a pretty nice wall. I mean, doesn't have no supports, no nothing, it's holding itself up. I'm happy with that. Now we're going to attach the LED lights. To attach the LED strips, it has a self-adhesive backing to it. Just peel and stick. This little stool is not very balanced.
Oh, new one, man.
And a quick wipe down.
Sure.
Yeah, looks great. And the reveal. Does that look all right?
Oh, I feel like we're like in Star Wars.
All right, so we got our floating shelves up. We got all the shiplap up. Now all that's left is the paint. Oh, just so much fun. This detail painting that I get to do.